Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. I warn you in advance, there's going to be some words, because I can't think of other ways to put some of the things I'm going to say. I will also say that I have to be very careful on words I'm saying. I don't want to open myself up for prosecution. We all know who these people are. Let's put it this way. Now, I was going to do this about 2 o'clock this afternoon, peak viewing kind of thing. But I've got so many people moaning and saying, Dave, why haven't you done it? Why haven't you done it? Yeah, I want to do it. So I'm going to do it. So we're doing it here. We're doing it. Like I say, got to be careful about the words I use. So I am. I'm going to be a bit circumspect. But let's address the problem. During lockdown, a senior politician engaged in an extramarital relationship, sexual relationship, with a colleague. That is not in any doubt, because that minister was fired, lost his job. It was, of course, Matt Hancock. Now, at that point, we've set a precedent. If you are a senior politician and you engage in an extramarital relationship during lockdown, then you must resign. People were calling for it. The SNP were calling for it. They stood in Parliament and calling for this to happen. And, of course, they did. They fired him. So the SNP have this thing that if you have engaged in an extramarital relationship during lockdown, they say you should go. How do we know this? Beryl said so. Beryl called for it with Matt Hancock. So there we go. That's how it is. So you have all this. That's the precedent. And now, of course, we have another. Well, before we get there, we have the Margaret Ferrier case. A woman who broke COVID rules, lost her job. The precedent is set twice. So now we have this case. Now, we know, and I was... let me background here, because yesterday morning I was given a name, and I was given it by a source who told me who they were, and I'm protect the source, not going to say, and I thought, well, fair enough, that person would know. However, never had that person as a source before, so I couldn't just take their word for it. So I was a bit more circumspect. And I asked for other sources. And second, and indeed a third source came. And the third source was someone who I've used as a source before. I know who they are. They're reliable. And so I knew at that point exactly who it was. The woman. The first source said he knew who the man was, but he didn't want to say, but, that's fine. When you know the name of the woman, you know the name of the man. It's as simple as that. One begats the other. Quite literally, actually. Because let's face it, there was an awful lot of begetting, wasn't there? So that was how I was presented. Now, of course, it's all over Twitter, but you can't use Twitter as a source. That way, madness lies. Like I say, I like my house. I want to keep it. I'm not going to make accusations. I'm certainly not making accusations based on rumours on Twitter. However, whilst I am not prepared, hear me out, because I have to say this in a way that's clever to stop any kind of action. Whilst I am not prepared to make a statement of fact that these two people did what we all suspect they did, I am in a position to suggest that the rumours exist. Now, I can discuss the rumours without maintaining a statement of fact. And so I can name them, as long as I'm only naming them as these are the rumoured names on this other source. And that's what we're going to do. I can also ask a series of questions, because questions aren't statements. They are quite literally questions. And so I'm going to just frame it. Look at the two people involved. I'm going to frame a couple of questions, and then, dear viewer, I'm going to let you decide. But we will, of course, be naming some names. Now, Twitter rumours abound. And as I say, you can't believe them. But Twitter rumours abound. And they are suggesting on Twitter these rumours. And they are saying that Humza Yousaf had an affair with Anum. Now, of course, this is only rumour, and we mustn't necessarily believe it. We're not going to say that this was true. In fact, far from it. I'm going to categorically say, I'm sure it's not true. But the rumours on Twitter still exist. And no, I'm not calling it X, it's Twitter. So screw you, Elon. Anyway, the rumours exist. And these rumours are saying that Humza Yousaf engaged in an illicit extramarital affair with a woman who's not his wife during lockdown. So first of all, let's address a couple of things here. Let's ask some questions, a small series of questions. Because Humza is currently out there in Dubai with a woman who's not his wife, all at the public expense, having flown 30,000 feet, quaffing champagne, eating caviar, now in a nice, well-appointed 5-star hotel, eating the very best of food, drinking the very best of wines with his friend. They didn't arrive together. They won't leave together, because they don't want people to talk. They want to make it look as though they aren't together. As they sit there, very nicely, thank you, well away from the press, well away from the prying eyes of photographers, engaging in whatever business it is that they are engaging in. They claim it's about selling lamb to the Arabs. Yeah, a bit of a sheep in lamb's clothing, eh, Humza? Wah, wah, wah. With your young Saturday girl. She's the current squeeze, of course. I think he may possibly have tired of the previous one, and he's looking for pastures new, perhaps, maybe, allegedly. Anyway, upon his return, he will be asked some questions, and he'll be asking questions like, would it be appropriate for a senior politician who may have risen to even more senior rank to have conducted an illicit affair during lockdown, knowing that A, it was illegal, B, it was immoral, and C, as a politician who brought the rules in, it would look awful, the optics would be awful, having this affair with someone who's not in your family bubble. I suspect there was quite a few bubbles involved. And far from having the 6-foot gap, the 2 metre distance gap or whatever, they were exchanging bodily fluids. Do you think that would be wrong? Who knows? Who knows what his answer to that will be? Of course, it would be very difficult for him, because if it was him, we're not saying it is, but someone's bound to ask if it was him, does he think that that's a resignation matter, considering Matt Hancock had to resign, considering Margaret Ferrier had to resign? Does he think that he would have to resign? Or does he think that the justice of others does not apply to him? And on as Anum Qaisar's side, you have to ask, is it right that a woman who was nowhere suddenly rose through the ranks ever so quickly to become an MP? Envelopes full of cash notwithstanding, allegedly. Did she earn that merit, or did she ride her way to the top? And if so, what was she riding? Or who? Because it seems a meteoric rise for someone with very little talent to get all that way up ever so quickly, ever so young, without having to put in the hours. Parachuted into a very safe SNP seat. Others who have longer serving and done more work, thrown to the side, just so Humza's long-time aide could get the seat. Someone who's worked very closely under Humza Yousaf, possibly in every sense of the word. Certainly, when he sat there and said, I'd like to do a bit of dictation, will you please take this down? Probably followed the next line, or possibly, with the word knickers. It's all very dirty, isn't it? It's all very snide. It's all very enclosed. I personally, and it is my opinion, I am personally minded to be believing of the rumours. Saying these words carefully, you understand. And they are, of course, just rumours. There's no proof. There's no evidence yet. Anum Qaisar has a wife, has a husband. Still, they haven't divorced yet, but they're on their way. He's threatened to talk, and then he's been subjected to threats from the SNP thuggery. Let's hope he says, screw you, and does talk and names names. Because if he does and it's out, and if it turns out that it is Humza Yousaf, Yousaf has no option but to resign. I mean, this is going to make the Michael Matheson thing look very, very small fry indeed, but we must not forget that Matheson must go as well. I'm not letting Matheson off the hook because of this. There just needs more hooks. Humza must go, Anum Qaisar must go, Michael Matheson must go, Shona Robinson backing them all must go. All of them must go. How Oswald hasn't been arrested, I don't know. They're all a bunch of corrupt, two-faced, dirty fuckers that are shagging their way through lockdown, not caring, imposing rules on others, destroying lives, while they themselves sit at the top thinking they're above the law and they're above justice. But they're not above the court of human... The court of public opinion is the word I'm looking for there. They're not above the court of public opinion. We know what they are. They're all disgusting and they all need to be held to account. I do hope that Humza is held to account for all his errors. And if the rumours are true, he has no option but to land that plane when he comes back, walk straight into Holyrood and announce his resignation. This story is not going away. This story is going to run and run. He thought he could closed down the Michael Matheson one, and that's just a bloke stealing money. This is a tale of betrayal, of broken vows, of nepotism, of raising his lover perhaps to high rank. This is sheer hubris on Humza Yousaf's part if he thinks he's going to close this down. Let's never let this go. This bone is bigger than his. Till next time, stay safe, stay well, and I am not letting this one go. Bye.